Drop. Drop. Welcome everyone to Travis for the People. We back with another episode to talk more about what we began on yesterday. The water saga continues, aka Dickinson Gate. Yes, that's what we name it, Dickinson Gate. That came from the when he had spoke on November the 12th, 2025 about he had $1.5 million from the revolving state funds to go ahead and start to fix the badly water crumbling water infrastructure system in our town. And we hope and trust that um, they will do as they have said they will do. And we are continuing to go ahead and push the envelope and the issue and bring awareness to the community of Lincolnville that you must get involved with the governmental processes and procedures of the town. We are encouraging you and we are encouraging you. We are trying to inspire you. We are trying to rise you up so you can get in the process to hold our government to officials, elected officials, responsible for their sworn in duty to serve the public of Lincolnville. So when you don't say nothing, you giving them a free pass and giving them endorsing them, if you will, for them to do what they want to do and say all kind of stuff to us about they're doing such and such, and we know half the time they don't even be doing what they say they be doing. They only do it when political pressure is applied. So you got to keep the pressure up. That's why we coin the phrase TAR, the TAR principle: transparency, accountability, and responsibility. So let's move on into what we talk about, episode number 4, part 2. What's happening in Lincolnville, the saga of the water issue. And all of this stuff that begin about this water issue happened way back in the summer of June 2025, when the water keep going off, and there was no water issue, ball watery issue alert. Anyone didn't told some of the residents, some people have gotten sick, and it went on a whole lot of problems. We're going to reveal that timeline probably tonight through this presentation. And I'm just want to bring about, every time we go to the council meeting, and we all, Councilman Shannon always be making this statement: the mayor and I are, are putting our heads together to fix the water saga issue. We don't want to hear you putting your head together. We want to see a detailed plan from A to Z on how the water issue going to be fixed. We want to see a plan that states this streets we starting on and this the streets we going in on. We want to see a plan that said what we are going to do. We don't want to have no more lip service, because all of this is right at this point is lip service. There's a bunch of promises, but there's no fulfillment of the promises. So Enoch Dickinson III and Councilman Tyrone Aiken, a former mayor Charles Dewberry, and a council that served under them had not done the town justice in the area of the water department. Its infrastructure issues, out of the three of the mayors, all had been on council, all had been exposed to this issue of the town, all must take accountability and responsibility for their governmental malpractice. It is simple, it is clear. There is no, you can't blame Dickinson. You can't blame Dickinson without blaming Dewberry. You can't blame Dewberry, no Dickinson, without blaming Aiken, like we showed you on yesterday. This timeline of water issue had begun way under Mayor Bugg's issue. Mayor Bug, when Mayor Bugs was the mayor. But then it continue to have problems under Tyrone, and continue to have problems under Dewberry. Now it's still continuing to have problems under uh under still having problems under Dickinson at this particular time. And so we must understand that we got to understand this is purely governmental malpractice, because all three of them been on council together at one point in time, and I'm pretty sure they know this issues was exist, and they know the system was dilapidated. You know that the system was decaying. So understand the history of the water department from the beginning. Let's understand the water department, the town you they are referring to, Lincolnville, South Carolina, is locally pronounced, written as Lincolnville. That's what the historical record that says this town was about. The historical record about exact creation date of the town water department is limited, but available historical information provides some context about the water system. We must go back from the beginning to bring us where we are, so we can understand the whole process of having a water department. Again, the town was founded in 1867 by 7 African American men seeking to establish an independent black community after the Civil War, and town was officially incorporated in 1889. Early water sources. We first of all, the water sources in Lincolnville would run from swamp ponds and wells, a pump pond that where trains stop to take on the water. So that's a good information. This is how, when we go back in the history, that the railroad system used to come straight through, that comes right through Lincolnville. I mean, it used to be a railroad stopping area here in Lincolnville. Stop here in Lincolnville. So that's some rich history. And many small southern towns like Lincolnville, multiple water systems likely developed decades later. The infrastructure and the population had increased that caused that the water system must be upgraded. So the current time of water, Lincolnville Water Department operated in a multiple water system today, but the publicly available town documents do not clearly state the exact year the system was first established. It says that it's established under Mayor Ross, Charles Ross, at that time in the mid 20th century. But it's not clear when it started, but we know it did. So the small towns in the mid 20s often tie state and federal infrastructure program, but a precise founding year of Lincolnville water system is not widely documented online. So it's not clear. I try to research everywhere. It's not clear. And but we believe in the 20th century was Charles Ross, who served as mayor in Lincolnville in the 1970s, is stating that he probably most likely brought forth upgrading of the water system in the town of Lincolnville. So again, the historical facts about our water system is this. It was founded in 1867, and corporate town was incorporated in 1888. Early water was the wells, ponds, and the natural sources. Exact year of the multiple water department formed not clearly documented. An example of historic mayor, it says that Mayor Ross, Charles Ross, and I met him as a little boy, has most likely had developed the water system, and it haven't been revamped, haven't been upgraded since then. So look at this. This is very shocking to understand. From 1970, since Mayor Charles Ross was the mayor, the water system has not been addressed. Even though from Mayor Bugs to Mayor Aiken, Mayor Dewberry and Mayor Dickinson presently, knowing that there were some issues concerning the water system and infrastructure of the water system. They all know. So they bear responsible. And we call for them. Right now, Dickinson is the mayor and Tyrone Aiken is still on council. So instead of they be up there fighting over non-nuanced stuff, it should be getting together and actually carving out a plan to lay to the public on how we're going to address this issue of the water 6 decades since the water system haven't been addressed. That is shame. And supposed to be tested every year, supposed to be tested every month, supposed to be having DHEC come down and making sure the system is right or whatever. I know for sure that the mayor had a document in February 2024 what it's going to take to upgrade the water system in Lincolnville. Whether he revealed that to council yet or not, whether he revealed that at all, I don't know why would he keep that to himself, because it won't do him no justice if he keep it to himself. So here again, we're gonna go through the history of when it was implemented and upgraded and to this point. Look at this timeline: 1970, 1980. The water system implemented demands of housing and structure, fire protection, and multiple independence. That was the purpose why the water system was implemented, because we needed, because the town started growing. We need it for fire protection. We need it for multiple independents to have our own independence. We have our own water department where those funds will help continue to bring, possibly using to continue to upgrade and get certified people to look after the water system. I did a presentation on that before time that we actually need a water department. We do not have a water department, and it cringes me when you have Councilman Shannon them saying, "Oh, we over the water department." No, you over the water committee. Again, elected officials supposed to provide oversight for the town on committees. They're not supposed to be in the day-to-day work of the day-to-day operation. You need to hire a director of public works to be over the water department so you can have a functional water department. Not someone say they over it, and that's the problem because he figured that because he over it, he got some power and some authority and he could stay where you want. No, no, no. So then Mayor Fields and Bucks in the 1980s and 90s, the major issue over annexation, zoning, land ownership, and water utility access was a regional conflict at that time. We was it was a conflict between Dorchester and Charleston County and Lincolnville right in the middle. Then the annexation and zoning, if those mayors at those time would see the foresight of their trying to come in and squeeze Lincolnville out. Somerville and North Charleston City, they still work on annexation around Lincolnville, seeing leaving vacant land available. That's why these developers coming in and seize that opportunity because of the lack of a division that these mayors had. Maybe because there was some infighting. Maybe I don't know. Maybe because they couldn't see it. Mayor Tyrone Aiken in the 2000 developed development proposal, infrastructure funding shortages, and regional planning. When you desire not to grow the town, now to Mr. Aiken credit, he did wanted to put a post office. He did wanted to do a water tower. He did want to do some things at that time would have been the best for the town at that time. Then we wouldn't have all these problems now. But they didn't want it. The council fought him according to some of the things that he shared and some of the things that is well known. It is nothing that I'm doing hearsay or whatever. This is well known stuff. So the biggest challenge was maintaining the multiple independent while surrounded by larger municipalities. Some of them was growing. North Charleston or Charleston County was growing. Berkeley County was growing. But we was in steady Lincolnville trying to be the old Lincolnville. Instead, if you wanted to be an old Lincolnville, it was opportunity to seize the opportunity to grow the town and keep the town as it is. If you did an annexation and all that, that's water under the bus. But we got to bring people up so people can understand. See, people don't want to be transparent and accountable and responsible. They don't want you to know history on why we got to this point. They just want you to just be quiet. So Mayor Charles Dewberry, he won the election 2014, reflecting government disagreement about development and service. Again, here we go. Development and the services is at the core of why we have this problem. We should have been doing both at the same time, not just drawing things for political favor or drawing for expediency or whatever was going on. We don't know what was going on under these mayors' administration. We don't know what was happening, any deals that were being made because they overlooked the other way, wherever having the wrong people operating, planning, and zoning, allowing people to come in and do what they need to do right underneath our nose. But we do know the problem with the Dewberry administration. The planning commission had dropped the ball at that time from 2015 to this present, did not even begin to do the revision to the 2015 comprehensive plan, with the revision would be done in 2020, which that would be under Mayor Dewberry. Then it puts from the revision, then it start to implement the process to bring a update the vision to 2025. We just now got round to getting ready to do first reading in 2026. And I'm going to bring the receipts that we tried to bring this before earlier, but it seemed like people didn't want to do it, even under this current administration. So that begs the question, why it was not pushed to be done, and how are we are going to continue to function on the old audience and old vision 10, 11 years ago. Now we ain't doing it now. We doing it now, and people are saying, well, Dickinson the one that fostering it. Now Dickinson was forced to do it himself. And I got receipts. And I'm going to show those receipts. The Dickinson administration has acknowledged that much of Lincolnville water infrastructure has exceeded its lifespan. He acknowledged it, but did not address it properly or get the planning commission at that time to go ahead and start moving with the 10-year comprehensive plan. And now we got to do first reading. That probably won't happen to July of 2026. We are a year removed after it was supposed to be already done. So the water saga continues. Again, I must quote, every time you go to the town meeting, the councilman Shannon said the mayor and I are putting our heads together to fix the water issue. Always putting their head together, but yet they don't come out with a plan. We are going to look at the water issue from the water department for 2005 until now. Let's look at it. The water issue in Lincolnville, the timeline for July 2025 to the present 2020. And I label this Dickinson Gate. Because it is Dickinson Gate. Because November the 12th, 2025, he stated that he had the money from the $1.5 million from the revolving state fund, even though that money alone will not fix the entire system. It probably be about around $4 or $5 or $6 million to the total do the upgrade and do it right. So at least if he had it, he could start on it and do some section at a time, have it outlining whatever until you get more money to do the rest. At least he could have done that, but he hasn't, and still haven't. He be doing patchwork now. So July, from January to July 2025, there was employment notice full-time water meter needed. From that time for June 5th, according to the councilman, and creating a website, installing a robust system. And that robust system didn't even start until February of this year. Information was posted on the local news, and notice the notice this alert system supposed to have been done then, but it started in February 2026. January 1st, 2020, the resident reported having issues with low water pressure. Let's move on. Okay, October 2020, water problem is scary. October 1st, the mayor tabled his salary increase. The water outage in the town was on this very same day. There was community outrage. At this meeting, the mayor was trying to pass a salary from 27,000 up to 54,000 a year. It happened so on the same day that he wanted to pass the salary, the water bust. If that ain't karma, if that ain't ironic, if that ain't some type of issue with me letting you know that your priority was wrong. So October the 8th, anonymous members say the water pressure is low. It's some shifty water pressure. October the 9th, another anonymous member say It says Lincolnville needs to create a website to know when there are water issues. See, they ain't had the water, they didn't have the website even up there. And to this day, they got some stuff on there and got a web administrator now, but it's still trash, in my view. Because it could be much better. And if you got a web designer supposed to be doing a job, it should be it should be finished by February event. She got hired. So we all the way in May and still lack information on there. Okay? And it says October 9th, the town was under the ball water advisory until further notice. Any questions during direct to the town. Yeah. Sometimes when you call the water department, they don't answer the phone. October 13th, Councilwoman Dyson posted, and I love Councilman Dyson. She is for the people. The ball water advisory remains in effect. Okay, October the 15th, the ball water advisory was lifted. October the 29th, the resident asked about a question, what about the water? The same question will come up later in the presentation. People want to know what about the water? What about the problem? November 2020, the mayor runoff surprise. November 12th, 2000, Mayor Dickinson posted a video about receiving funds for the state revolving fund, 1.5 million. Work scheduled to start and completed after the first year, January 2026. The work has not yet started. So that should tell you right there that again, there's some tomfoolery. People went out there and voted him back in, which is fine. People have a right to vote, but yet, where is the follow through? Then get upset with people who call them out on these things. From January 20th timeline, Mayor Edith Dixon, November 12th, 2020, a false prediction. The Dickinson's amp came after me and calling me a my favorite quote from them, and I quote, the small time leader with manipulative and teacher's ways. That was they called me. And one of them they called me beware of false prophet. Now the man quote on November the 12th that he got the money from the state revolving fund on a video, and we did an Ursa clip on that. He said the work would have been in January. It is May the 15th, and the work have not done. So I must ask the Dickinson camp, who is the false prophet? Okay? As we go on, let's go on January 20th, Mayor timeline, Mayor Enid Dixon the third. That's why we're going to continue to put pressure. January 1st, resident report, my water is back on. January 5th, Sophie White, which is the town web administrator. The water is off due to a line. January 6th, the ball water advisory is in effect due to water main break on Monday. January 6th, Live 5 News alert, a water main break has put the town of Lincoln under a ball watery advisory. January 7th, Sophie White, town web administrator alert, the ball water advisory has been lifted. January the 7th, and council meeting was supercharged, but so many citizens got out the room. That was the mayor sworn in. I ain't know where all those people came from, but they sure packed the room. January 8th, the resident reported, seems our water is off again. The resident reported, why are folks paying bills if you have to go through this every other day? Resident reported, it sucks. Okay? It sucks. And these are comments that was made. January 2000, resident reported, this is ridiculous. I have a business and a client in the chair with color on her hair with no effing water. Let's see if the 25 minutes to fix it now. That's bad. And they're not educating people, not warning people, telling, well, we got this in process. You need to sign up. You should have had all this in process, like you said you should have had. Where am I signing up now? It should have been already in process. If people are irritable, this and we're gonna go through this. Look at this. January 9th, resident report used for infant. You would think the town would have offered this information. It was a fact sheet about what to do during a ball water advisor. Resident comment, thank you. Resident on June the 9th again, resident reported what the water is back on temporarily. Residents suggest still need to boil your water. There's no explanation as to why this has happened this time. There's supposed to be a report being done every time the water goes for a certain amount of hours or 24 hours. If it goes off longer than that, they have to test the water to make sure it's not been contaminated. And that report should be on the website. That report should go out in a robocall and say the water is fine. It should be on that sign out there they got now on Lincolnville Avenue telling the resident the water is fine when these things go out. January 9th, resident reported 12:47 p.m. No water again. Another resident responded, this is ridiculous. January 10th, to and Sophie White report from the town. Water outrage in the town of Lincolnville. In this report, construction of new water lines, upgrade the valve, is scheduled to begin in February 2026. The investment will modernize our system, improve our reliability, and significantly reduce future outrage. Councilman Shannon is supposed to be working with the water department staff to identify the most vulnerable areas of the system. This is what she said. Where is the report? It's not on the website. Where is the outline from A to Z, the comprehensive plan to fix this water problem from street to street, from zone to zone? You said he's doing it. He just said in the last meeting that they identified these areas. So where is it? They don't like to be transparent, and they just like to say stuff to let it hopefully keep the pressure off. So January 13th, Supervisor Town Well, Miss Roy. Hello everyone. There's a water leak on West Broad Street. Expect the water to turn off. Again, here we go. And now we continue with this false prediction. Remember, all this was begin to be fixed in January, according to the mayor, November the 12th, 2025. Again, January 18th, a resident response. Has anyone heard if and when the ball rock advisory will be lifted? This is getting old. Right now, we didn't have a water breakout yet so far. Seems like the problem is being fixed or had been fixed or patched, but we know the infrastructure of the water system is old and at any time these valves can burst. January the 20th, 2026, the resident reported I contact Charleston Water System, who purchased the water from, who we purchased the water from. January 6th, water main break. Ball rider was lifted on January 7th. Question was asked how many times in January we lost water once the water leaves North Charleston. They do not know what Lincolnville does. So they are passing the ball on Lincolnville because they're not gonna get involved. There was no other reports about the outrage we endured for the first full week. The first full week in January, the water was broke in that week about at least 5 times, 4 or 5 times. Is the water been tested after each outrage? How often we have to be exposed to contaminated water? Does anyone else find it suspicious that the ball advisory are lifted so quickly? Another resident responded, why didn't anyone notify us of a problem with the water? January 23rd, the resident asked the question, how's the water? Another resident responded, welcome to the municipality of Lincolnville. They rule, we keep our heads in the sand, don't ask questions, don't complain, don't have needs answered or met, and may be happy about it because we are told to, mostly because we don't know what we are talking about. How many of you rush up to Lincolnville Road to read the sign? That's a good point. Nobody rush up to Lincolnville to read no sign. They should be a roll call, and then the back of that say, "Have you signed up yet?" No, you should already, every time somebody pay their water bill or come out, you should already have people to sign up. You should have been had this done because you had a website which was not functional. You had a website which is not even serving any purpose because there's no information on there. Even the town council don't even have email to reach the town council because they don't want nobody to reach them. Because if they did, they have their emails on there, at least have the email generated from the town for them that people can talk to them, at least through emails. Should have a number way to reach, not just a number to the town water departments, which sometimes they do not answer the phone, but nevertheless, it should they should be reachable because they're there to serve the public. The water saga continues. Again, I must quote Councilman Shannon stated, the mayor and I are putting our heads together to fix the water issue. So as we move on, here's the timeline again. Sophie White, the web administrator, town Lincolnville scheduled the water service disruption. That was that water service disruption, that valve that burst down there on Owen Valve on February 10th. And then there was water body lifted on February the 13th. And February the 7th, Sophie White administrator reported the town alert system is ready for you. January 5th, 2025, according to the council member, creating the water installating a robust system. So it took them almost a year to institute a town alert system. That's malpractice. That is one of the easiest things to do. February the 18th, so right, the weather ministry report, hello, the neighbors due to some work going on in Somerville and Charleston, the county in Charleston County supporting them. We will have a reduction in the water pressure between 8 p.m. and 4 p.m. 8 p.m. and I guess 4 p.m. the next day at 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Miss on the day. So that on that day on February the 18th. So again, a rocky start in February, even though it's supposed to be being fixed. March the 20th, 2000, water pressure continued. March 13th, the town meeting announced for March 16, 2026. It was a call meeting, a town meeting. I'm talking about these issues and coming to address the quarterly meeting. This is how he trying to be more transparent. You don't have to do a town meeting. You could be doing a podcast. You could be doing a coming on Facebook Live and doing updates every day the way to communicate. Come on up to the 21st century. You people don't come to the town meeting that much. We know that. We hope that they will come. We encourage them to come. They need to come. Okay, they're doing much better. I see the residents that are coming who are concerned. But if you really want to be transparent and accountable and responsible, do a podcast. Do a monthly podcast, a monthly announcement to social media where people can view you and talk to you, ask you questions through texting messages, whatever, so you can address these issues every month. I hear the concerns of the people. Okay, March the 25th, resident asked the question: the water. What's going on with the lack of water pressure that appears to be consistent? Several comments about what pressure because challenging at 3 p.m. Nothing like losing water pressure in the middle of a shower. It is a concern with the water pressure. The water pressure is not up the way it's supposed to be. I know it ain't. So April 20th, 2026, the water saga reached the boiling point. April 1st, the town meeting, Councilman Shannon claims that the town has the 1.5 million, but the mayor Dixon said the town does not have the money. It has to be reallocated. Okay. Now the truth come out. So his prophecy in November 12th, 2025, that he had the $1.5 million from the state revolving fund and it began to work in January. Now it's finally came out 4 months. Wait a minute, from November, December, January, February, March, April, 5 months later, that Shannon says you have it, but the mayor says you don't. April 1st, Travel released a video about the water issue needs to be fixed. April 6th, the video surfaced about the Mayor Dickinson promise, false prediction to fix the water of January 2026 first video. The video was released on November the 12th. That this is when this whole thing was coming. They talk about they didn't say this and that, and somebody released that video. And I responded to the video because people were beating down the person who released the video because that individual was asking for reports of the water after being fallen, the water being cut off and shut off. They were asking for report, wanted information, wanted answers, and people came after her like she was the problem. The lie was the problem on November 12th. When you try to forget that people don't remember, when you put something on video, it's out there. People can find it. So that's why you're supposed to be the tall principal, transparent, accountable, and responsible. April 7th, Mayor Ena Dixon III finally released a letter to explain the process of receiving the 1.5 million from revolving fund. He explained, but still trying to blame the resident for misinformation. It was not a misinformation, sir. It was you that provided the public with misinformation. You should have came out with an apology, not trying to pit the blame game. See, when people think they are quote unquote in charge and they're better, they know better than you. No. Anybody know that you was not telling the truth? Stevie Wonder see that. April 7th, Travel Force released a video discussed about addressing the issue, asking a simple question. It was a simple question. And then people would often start saying all kind of crazy stuff. How to fix the water saga continue. Let us start with communication. The website and alert system still needs to be addressed. There's little or no information about the water reports, when tests are being done, etc. It sounds or looks like nothing is being done. Transparency is required, but transparency only works when our government is truthful, honest, open about any and all issue. Accountability and responsibility should be given. There is no excuse for making excuses when you are in charge. Period. That's how we can fix the issue. Being transparent, having our open dialogue with the public and the public with you, getting together to fix these issues. There's way that we can fix it. As we say, the water saga continues. Councilman Shannon said, Mayor and I are putting our heads together to fix the water issue, the water saga issue. So here we go. Mayor Ena Dickinson III, there he is. His initiative and his vision are 6 things, but here are 2 things that's supposed to prevent Dickinson Gate. Because that's what it is. It is Dickinson Gate. Safe, clean neighborhoods and strong infrastructure and services. This what he put in his own vision. And for the life of me, I don't understand why we have not begun out with a plan to fix these issues. It does not make any sense that we don't have a plan to fix this issue. If he knows it's an issue, he should have come out with a plan. Now, for full disclosure, I wanted them to do well, so that's why I created a plan to send to him. Not to take credit, care about that. I want them to have a plan so they can't say they didn't have a plan. They don't know about how to fix it because that would be the excuse. Well, we working on it. Here's the plan. They could have took the plan if anyone had common sense. Because 2 plus 2 is 4, not 2 plus 1 is 4. So if someone gives you a plan, a template of a plan, or something form of a plan, a shell of a plan, All you have to do is take the plan and make it the way you want to make. And what I suggested that it should be an ad hoc committee consists of at least 7 people of the town from stockholders wherever to sit on that committee and to go and address these water issues and stop hearing a bunch of rhetoric on town meeting first of the month from the water committee, mainly Councilman Shannon, or even the entire council is at stake at this point because it's all of them is responsible for everything that goes on in the town, no matter what committee they over. Because they overseeing the whole budget. They working on the town budget as it is now. So they are responsible for everything. So it should be an ad hoc committee to find out from A to Z on how to fix this problem. We let us ask some questions on simulating and what. We know the water system had deteriorate from 1970, as far as we know, the first water system in Lincolnville from Mayor Child. Who? We know that Mayor Dixon III had an estimate since February 2024 about how much it would cost, but nothing was implemented at this present. Who? Who is going to fix the issue? Where? We know that entire water system in town needs to be updated. When? Is there a timeline you expect the start and finish date of the complete overhaul of Lincolnville water system? Why? Why haven't we heard about any type of plan before we get the 1.5 million from the state revolving fund? Where's the foresight to put together a plan for this project? There was an ignorance, unknowingly remark. The comprehensive plan and the capital improvement plan is the plan to fix our issue. How can the capital improvement plan and the comprehensive plan fix the issue? And the comprehensive plan have not yet reached first reading. And the capital improvement plan for those fees that for these new developments that come in, that them only fees come in certain batches. It don't come all at one time. So that was an ignorant remark. For nobody don't know no better, that was crazy. Then why are we relying on development? We should be putting our hands together, our heads together, having an R committee, and not just on development. How about a bond? How about going after certain things, doing the penny sale tax? How about that gonna be ongoing money coming in for 10 years or so forth, where we can have money coming in to fix it down? How about trying to identify an area in town where we can put a commercial business site where we can have a food eatery, have a gas station, have a library, have a post office, have a etc. So we can get some business taxes in because people don't know 6% of the business tax, 3% of that goes to the town. So how? There needs a comprehensive plan to fix the water system link, and the mayor can call a IR committee, exploratory committee, to design an A to Z plan from the volunteers from the community to help come up with a plan to fix the water system. Not having a plan, relying on the mayor, relying on Councilman Shannon, we won't get nowhere. We won't get nowhere. That's why he should be wise enough to call a IHOP committee to start to address these issues. At least he can say he putting the plan together to address these. Start waiting on development, because that's the only thing now. We're gonna wait for the development to come so we can get this money here. No. What happened when that money go? You still needed to continue to fix infrastructure in the town. We need more lighting. We need sidewalks. We need better roading. We need things. People want to walk around town without being fear of being getting hit by a car. We need lightings. It's dark. Ditches need to be clean. Again, Councilman Shannon, the mayor and I are putting our heads together to fix the water issue. I'm certain that you are, Councilman Shannon, but there's no proof of no evidence. I didn't sound off on y'all about the negative of not fixing. There are solutions in here. There were some solutions that was given to you. The problem with most people when you try to help them, they look at it as a negative. They're saying you trying to outdo me, you trying to hurt me, you trying to show me up. No, no one trying to show nobody up. But what we are trying to do is come up with a plan to address the issue. Instead of you frown on people who trying to help where there's no help being done, you should be grasping. You should be running. You should be willing to allow someone, anybody to come involved and to help you with the issue. It don't have to be me, don't have to be nobody. At least pull the time together, do it all up committee. Strategize for now and the future. So this situation won't happen again. Because history is watching. While y'all's on y'all watch, y'all allowed the crumbling infrastructure water system to continue. While it's on your watch, the history will say that you did nothing about it, and it will be labeled Dickinson Gate. And it should be pinned to Dickinson Gate to every last council person that's serving council under his administration. Because they don't get a free pass in this. I'm calling for Mayor Dickinson, calling for Councilman Aiken, Councilman Shannon, Councilman Nesbitt, Councilman Prince, Councilman Weldon, Councilman Dyson to encourage the mayor to pull a AHA committee and let the exploratory committee begin to do the work where it's not being done. So we can have a plan at A to Z and knowing what streets and where we're going to start and begin. This is becoming redundant now. It is assaulting to the intelligence of the voter. And the voters need to pay attention. When it comes next year, there's some seats up. Next year, Councilman Aiken's seat is up. Councilman Shannon's seat is up. Councilman Nesbitt's seat is up. Their seats are up. And I'm not saying one or another, but we need people to go ahead and prepare themselves. If this work don't get started being done, it's malpractice. And we need to run people against them. Because maybe some people really want to come and do the work, because if you're tired, then you need to go retire. Don't hold position just to say you up there. That ain't no good. Again, this is Travis for the people. The water saga continues. It continues because there's no solution. There's no plan. There's no A to Z comprehensive. There's no IHOP committee to help design a plan to fix the issue. I'm pretty sure there are a lot of residents will be love to be on such a committee. Because once that committee is formed, and once it's in it, it dissolves itself. But you got to have foresight and vision, and got willing to be transparent, accountable, and responsible. Until our next episode, stay tuned. We got more to come on what's happening in Lincolnville. And we encourage you to come out to the town meetings every first Wednesday at 7 o'clock. We encourage you to go vote June the 9th, and we will be bringing videos on these elected officials that are running throughout the state. And we will be talking about all this voter oppression as well, because we got to do something. If you want a free democracy, freedom of speech and all this stuff, you better get out there and vote. Don't vote because you've been voting for the same party. But yeah, I'm a Republican, I'm a Democrat. You better vote for people who going to stand up for the Constitution, stand up for rights and fairness for all. Until we meet again. Again, this is Travis for the people. The Water Saga continues. Please go to my Facebook page and become a follower of me, Travis for the people. Until we meet again, may the Lord bless you